Stay tuned as Jon Uhler, a licensed professional counselor with over 25 years of professional experience treating both survivors and sexual predators, shares his insights on this edition of Predator Watch.
I'm most appreciative of the opportunity to share with you all from my professional clinical background about the serious concerns I have about the legislation you're considering, because you're being led to believe that legislation, erroneously called anti-conversion therapy legislation, will actually serve to protect vulnerable gender-confused kids. And as a therapist who has extensive history working with severely emotionally disturbed kids in the foster care system and those in community-based and residential treatment, I come before you to urge you to stop this legislation, as it will actually have the exact opposite effect of what you're being told. It will actually open the door for these young people, a majority of whom have serious untreated mental health issues, to be manipulated, exploited, and harmed.
A lot of my trans identity was connected with hating myself.
And I used being trans as a way to deal with all of the things that I was feeling.
But I do have these other people in my head. Actually, part of what led me to transition is a bunch of these personalities are male. These facets of my personality are male or male presenting. And that sort of made me feel like, well, I'm everything, you know, like I'm not just a woman, I'm a man too. Almost like this non-binary type thing.
But a lot of what drove me to transition in the first place was linked to a lot of mental health issues and a lot of stuff that I had going on.
Nobody in the medical or psychological field ever tried to dissuade me to offer other options.
The fact that I was so obsessed, this should have been some sort of red flag to someone somewhere.
There were all these red flags, and I honestly wish that somebody had pointed them out to me, and then I might not have transitioned in the first place.
60 Minutes did a powerful piece on how these kids are being targeted and how these kids are being harmed.
How many of you feel that you were blindly affirmed?
I didn't get enough pushback on transitioning. I went for 2 appointments, and after the second one, I had my letter to go get on cross-sex hormones. 2 visits? That's it?
And the therapist that I found only required 1 therapy session in order for her to be comfortable writing this letter for me.
The therapist that I got, she actually told me that she could get me all the paperwork that I needed to transition that after my first session.
But I mean, of course, hindsight, because back when I wanted to take hormones, I thought Planned Parenthood, oh my God, this is like a godsend. I don't have to go, because I didn't want to talk to a therapist. So I don't have to jump through any hoops. I don't have to do anything. I just walked in and got it.
So what's my message as a professional who's worked extensively with vulnerable minors with severe mental health issues? Such minors need more choices in qualified ethical therapists, not fewer. This legislation will cause highly trained ethical therapists to simply opt out, and therefore kids will have fewer choices. Licensed professionals are not going to place their livelihood on the line. And trust me, no normal therapist seeks to convert anyone. The goal is to help the client, no matter the age, clarify their own goals and improve their own self-esteem by self-acceptance, not by eradicating themselves. To help them think through the long-term consequences of their decisions, and to ensure the safety and protection of kids, not to reframe red flags of sexual abuse or mental health issues in terms of gender confusion, which will end up fast-tracking these kids toward medical treatments that will leave them forever changed, damaged, or scarred.
I thought that being trans was making me want to kill myself. But if I had been going to a good therapist, if I had been going to school, if I had had friends and had meaningful relationships with people outside of the internet, I know that I would have been able to reconcile my female identity with myself the way that I was. I was just living so disconnected from my body and so disconnected from who I really was.
I've produced a 40-minute documentary called Understanding the Trans Movement, which covers additional key information and key concerns about how these kids are not being treated in a clinically appropriate manner. I encourage each of you to watch that before you cast your vote.
You've been listening to Predator Watch, dedicated to shining the light of truth about the nature of the most sophisticated of sexual predators most likely to target places where victims are most easily accessed. For Jon Uhler and the entire team, thanks for listening.